Hello and welcome to France 24's weekly music show. My guest this week is the frontman of one of the most successful hard rock bands to stem out of Sheffield, England. They've been described as both the most blessed and cursed band of the 80s, with a tsunami level of highs and lows. Sex, drugs and rock and roll may have been part of the package, but Def Leppard were notably the first big rock act to feature on MTV. They've sold over 110 million albums and in 2019 were inducted into the prestigious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've just announced a new greatest hits album and as well as a European tour this summer. Joe Elliott, thank you so much for stopping by Arts 24.
My pleasure.
It's great to have you. Now, you've recently had a residency in Las Vegas, and I was wondering, how did it go and how did it compare to touring in the 1980s?
Oh, it's very different. It's very different to touring in the 2020s, to be honest. The thing about a residency, it's just the simple things in life. Same bed for 35 nights.
Amazing.
I mean, I've been joking with everybody recently, but saying I actually owned a house for less time than I lived in that hotel.
Really?
Know? It was great. We had the penthouse, nobody on the floor except the band, just down an elevator and a few corridors, and you're on the stage. You know, I mean, it's great that people travel to see us rather than the other way around.
Yeah. And
we get to do a show that we would never normally be able to do in an arena situation. So, the stage comes up out of the floor for the opening song, and I was singing one number up in the balcony, and then myself and the bass player Sav, we went out into the crowd on one song and get them going and stuff like that, because there's big wide walkways you can get off the stage onto. So you're putting on a show rather than doing a gig. And it was great fun to do, And we recently just did 3 shows in India as well, which we'd never done before. That was a very interesting experience.
Sounds comfortable for
It wasn't comfortable, but it was fun.
You're definitely one of the most iconic bands from the 80s, and to this day, you see people proudly wear your T-shirts. You can see patches at any metal gig. There's always at least 5 Def Leppard patches I get to see when I go out. How have you found connecting with the younger audiences?
Well, funny you should say that, because just come back from India. That was the first thing that we all said, was how young the crowds were in India. They seriously, I don't think there's anybody over the age of 35 there, which is bizarre. But we see it all the time. And I'm always a little reluctant to discuss, to say out loud, oh, yeah, and our audience is getting younger, because a lot of people say that to try and make themselves look more relevant. And it's not necessarily true. They just do it because it makes them feel better. But it genuinely is true with us that I think we went through a period where there was not a lot of rock bands coming through for the younger generation to kind of latch onto. So because of lack of new artists, they're looking back. And, they're going beyond the 90s, your Pearl Jams and your Nirvanas, and they're going back to the AC/DCs, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, that kind of thing, because there's a legacy there, and there's just some really great songs. All those bands had huge hits that remain hits, and they're played on the radio all the time. And I think that there's a reliance there, from our generation, that we're still out there doing it as well. I think that really helps,
Your new track is called Rejoice.
Yes.
What's it about? What are you rejoicing about?
Well, the title kind of sums it up, really. I wanted to write a really uplifting, positive message song. And I said to Phil, I got this great idea. I need it to be mid-tempo. I want it to have a big intro drum loop so we can actually walk on stage to this and expand it and make it longer live. But the whole idea of the song is, it starts off, it's a great opening line, is I'm bored of boredom. I'm sick of all this, and I want to be in a better place. So it gets to the climax, you go through the bridge and it gets to the chorus, it's I want to go higher. So it's just very uplifting. It's a joyous, uplifting song, and that's what we are. We're an escapism band. We're not here to preach. We're not here to tell you who to vote for. That other people can do that. We like to take you away from that and just come and have a good time. It's not meaningless. There is a message there, and the message is, we need to share this moment together and make it a positive one. And Rejoice just about sums that all up, Well,
how about we take a listen to Rejoice? A new Def Leppard song that we can definitely imagine live on stage. It's called Rejoice. Now, Joe, I'm sure your fans are wondering, does this mean there's a new Def Leppard album coming out with new songs?
Absolutely. We're actually recording it as I speak. Somewhere in the world, people are adding their bits to some new songs. You know, we've developed a whole new method of recording, which was brought on by COVID. Mm-hmm. We were due to. I've got a studio at home, and everybody has always gracefully come to my house to record. We do a month at a time, and then we go home. But they couldn't travel, so we ended up recording remotely, and we found it to be exhilarating. Everybody got to be at home with their families, yet still make a record. And we trusted each other that we were writing songs, and so everybody just played on everybody else's bits, and it's easy to do. You know, I mean, we don't all record in one room when we are in the same studio. We do it. The drums and the bass and the guitars and the vocals, you know, it's all layered. So we've been recording while we were in Vegas, you know, on days off. We had the drums set up in the basement of the theatre, and Rick played loads of drums on his days off, and they do guitars in the hotel rooms, stuff like that. So, and I sing when I get home.
Oh.
So we've got about 17 or 18 songs written. So we've actually almost got 2 albums recorded. So we're still deciding which songs are going to go on album 1, if you like.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at an early 27 release.
That's exciting. Also exciting is the fact that you were touring Europe in June and July, and you've got a date here in Paris on the 8th at the Accor Arena. First time you're playing the French capital in nearly 30 years. You've played other festivals in France, but why have you been away for so long? Well,
as I always like to say, you can't just turn up on the doorstep with a drum kit and some backline and go, can we do a gig, please? You know, you have to be invited in. And I think the truth of the matter is that because, you know, the 90s were a very difficult time period for any band out of the 80s, you kind of have to ride out the turbulence. And France is just one of those kind of markets, if you want to use that word, where our popularity just didn't maintain. We were still big in Canada, we were still big in America and other areas of Europe and Britain. But France, they preferred to put us on the festivals.
Yeah.
So we did Hellfest a bunch of times. But then when we got invited back, we were like, first time in 30 years, it's like, okay, this is exciting because it shows that there's an upward trajectory once again, which has been coming for the last decade or so in different areas of the world. And you know, finally, you know, hopefully now France as well.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be the last night of the tour. So it's doubly special in that respect.
Extra celebration. But thank you for being honest about that, sort of like the dip of the post-90s.
Yeah, there's no, you know, I can't lie about it. It's not like, we couldn't be bothered. No. You know, I just don't think there was genuinely any interest, but there is again. And as I said, it's like turbulence. If you keep going, eventually it clears and you have nice blue skies. And that's, you know, we stuck it out, you know, and that was the biggest thing for us.
Well, how about we take a look at some of the other new releases that are out at the minute. And we're going to start off with the Flaming Head singer-songwriter and pianist Tori Amos. She's just released her new album, In Times of Dragons. In this 18th record, she plays with a metaphor for a reptilian autocratic government. And she takes aim at the world's current elite, be they politicians or oligarchs. Let's take a listen to the track Gasoline Girls.
Snap of the throttle.
From Tori Amos's In Times of Dragons. What do you think of it, Joe?
Well, I'm a big fan of Tori Amos. I will never forget when we were on Top of the Pops together in the UK. She was promoting Cornflake Girl, I think, and we were doing Let's Get Rocks, and she actually kissed me.
Oh, lucky you.
So I was like, okay, thanks, Tori. That was nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I've got a lot of her work. That sounds like classic Tori Amos to me.
Yeah, she seems to be in good form for this new album. Another artist who is releasing a new album is Sweden's Lykke. It's called After Party, and it's her 6th studio album. It was recorded with a 17-piece orchestra. Here's the track Lucky Again. Is it the death of the music video? I'm kind of thinking that nowadays when you see little things that are made specially for social media as opposed to actually a fully
I
fledged.
think, you know, the days of MTV and that, and making videos, some bands still do it. Taylor still does really good ones, Taylor Swift, and Gaga as well. And you know, but there comes a point, it's like you used to spend $500,000 making a video, and if you do that now, what's the point? No one's going to watch it.
No. Although we're lucky that Lady Gaga actually has a video. We're going to check it out in just a minute.
Yes, you should say that,
Yeah, Joe Elliott, thank you so much for coming on Arts 24
My
and
pleasure.
telling us all your latest news. New single called Rejoice. And of course, you can go and catch Def Leppard on tour this summer, including Paris's Accor Arena on the 8th of July. That's it for this week's show. And as we were saying, at a time when music videos seem to be going out of fashion, two stars have decided to buck the trend with style. Pop star Lady Gaga and rapper Doechii have joined forces for this track, Runway, which features on the soundtrack of The Devil Wears Prada 2. And all I can say is it's called fashion. Look it up. Thanks for watching.
Born for the runway. Sasha.